Last week, I did something that I hadn't done before, and I talk a lot in all of my programs. I intertwine mindset into them because I think it's really, really important to grow your business. Like your mind is what will give up right before your body at the gym, right? The same thing happens in your business. And so I always intertwine mindset into everything that I teach already. I talk about it a lot in my content. However, I have never done a solid hour of mindset conversation before. And so it was a real eye-opener that number one, first of all, I faced my fear and I did it. And then number two, that's not going to stay up there. Number two, that it was received very well. And a lot of people had a lot of breakthroughs, and that's what they needed to hear. And I think if I would have hid and would have gotten scared and would not have delivered the message that I was feeling in my heart that needed to be delivered, can we just talk about and imagine the people that would have missed out, right, on that message I had to deliver? And it is the same thing with a product or a service or an offer. When we are afraid to get visible, we are afraid to put ourselves out there, we are truly doing our audience the biggest disservice, because you never know who is watching, you never know who is listening, you never know who needs to hear that thing that you're talking about right now, right? You never know. And so when we choose to hide, when we choose to be afraid, when we choose to not show up that day and give our message that is on our heart and we're convicted about, we are truly doing them a disservice. It is not fair to our audience, but it's also not fair to us. We are allowing fear to win. We are allowing fear to dictate our actions or inaction. We are allowing these things to happen because we're scared. Now, what do they say fear is? Fear is something of false evidence. Oh yeah, it's false evidence appearing real, right? And it's like, okay, if I believe in fear, right, and I let fear rule what I do, then I also, because I can't really see that, right, and I don't know what's going to happen, I also in the same token get to believe in faith, and I get to have faith in myself, and faith and belief and certainty that I know what I'm talking about, and that this message gets to be delivered to my audience. So many times we are hiding, so many times we are afraid, so many times it's all about us when we're afraid. And this was a big realization to me. My fears were about me. They were kind of selfish, to be honest with you. My hives, my friends, what would they say? Me saying too much. Imperfection, right? That's on me. My audience doesn't care about that. And if they do, they're not my audience. Your audience doesn't care about that. And if they do, they're not your audience. So once again, why are we allowing fear to dictate the things that need to be seen and heard by our audience? Why? Why are we allowing fear to hold us back? Why are we allowing fear to stop us from attempting greatness? Right? We can't get there if we just live in our comfort zone. We can't stay in our comfort zone and literally be happy and satisfied. I mean, maybe you can tell yourself that, but you're always meant for more. I think it's, I can't remember her name, Cosmetics, Jamie, why can't I think of her name? But she talks about this, about the knowing, you have something deep inside of you, and it's this knowing, and you know that you are meant for more. You know that you're capable of more. And there's a quote, there's all kinds of quotes, but there's a quote that says, if we actually did what we were capable of, we would astound ourselves. We are capable of so much more. We're just not willing to get out of the comfort zone to do that. We're not willing to get uncomfortable to do that. We're not willing to push ourselves a little bit harder. We're so afraid of so many things: failure, success, what people will say, messing up, being imperfect, somebody seeing us and judging us by that, like rejection. So many things we are afraid of, and we allow it to stop us. The people who get where they want to go, they're still afraid. Don't get me wrong. They're still afraid. However, they move anyhow. They move in the fear. They don't move away from the fear, they move in the fear. Because they're scared, and they're doing it anyhow. They're truly courageous people. None of this is easy. When you go out and you're like, I'm going to start a business, especially an online business, right? Any business, but really an online business, you're putting yourself out into the world. Even a brick and mortar these days is putting themselves out into the world, because if they don't get with the program and social media, they're not going to be successful, most likely, right? So why are we letting fear dictate all of that? I used to ask this question a lot, and I said, don't ruin my track record, because nobody's ever told me no. However, if you knew that video could change one person's life, would you get on video? If it could change one person, maybe you never get validation, they never tell you, they never buy anything off of you, but you knew it would change your life, would you still get on video? And the answer has always been yes. So if we approach visibility, if we approach showing up, if we approach facing the fear and doing the thing we're scared of, just like me teaching an hour of mindset, I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to fill an hour? How on earth am I going to talk about mindset for an hour? Like, I do 5 to 7 minute videos. I do 5 to 10 minute podcast episodes. How am I going to fill a whole entire masterclass on mindset? But I did it. I taught two things that have served and supported me more than anything else: identity shifts and personal power. And I knew that between the two of them, they would take away something, right? They would take away at least one thing from those two trainings. And I just needed the audience that watched, I just needed them to identify with one of them. They didn't need to take both of them, just one at a time. One for now, one for later. One for now that serves them enough that they don't need the other one later. Because both of them work. If we work through the fear. When you have the tools, especially when you're running a business, but any goal that you're going after, anything that you want to be successful at, when you have the tools like mindset to support you, it is a game changer. And when I did a 90-day run, I knew I needed mindset support. And so I hired a mindset coach, because I knew I needed somebody that was there to help me out of the places that I knew I was going to dig myself into, because I was prepping, right? It was preventative. So when I decided to do Next Level You, I said, you know what? I am doing mindset first. It is not like me. It is not the sexy thing, but it is the most helpful thing. It is the most preventative thing. It is the thing that can serve and support us through marketing and money, which are the last two things that we're learning. So if I can get mindset, their mind in the right place, which we'll build on. I can't talk about marketing or money without talking about mindset. So I'm just going to build on what we already learned. But all I knew when I created this offer, it was originally called a secret offer, was all I knew was I want people to experience a transformation. Like the words that kept coming to me were evolution, transformation, changing lives. Like, those were the three things that I knew I wanted to focus on in this program. And honestly, this should be more than a $77 program. Only because I know what it's going to do for the people that watched video one. If they implement just video one, I already know how it's going to serve and support them. I already know the game changing that is coming. I already know this. It's just like, you can watch all the videos in the world. If you don't implement them, it doesn't matter, right? You can watch all the trainings. You can invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, but if you don't ever implement, it doesn't matter. It does you no good. You can't just watch and be like, oh, that was cool, that was nice, that got me fired up, but then walk away and forget everything you just got taught and never put it into practice. This is why so many people get in a bind with over investing and never implementing. But let's go back. I faced my fear. I was still scared. I was still scared it wouldn't resonate. I was still fearful that I shouldn't be talking a whole hour about mindset. But the belief that I had and the transformation that I knew I had myself, right? I knew that that was life-changing for me. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt it could be life-changing for somebody else if they received it the way that I was delivering it and the way that I received it. And so that, if I could help one person with that class, right? That 1 hour, one person, that's all I needed. One person. But more people watched it and they felt the feels as well. So that was a game changer. That was huge. And that is why I will never put myself in a box and say, I cannot teach mindset. Because that is not true. Because I sure can. And I did. And I crushed it. And I served and supported a lot of people in the process.